Create a class in Python. This is the Python oops programming. So in Python, class is defined using the class keyword. In the class definition, the first string is a doc string. Which is a brief description of the class. The doc string is not mandatory but recommended to use. We can get doc string using the double underscore doc attributes. Syntax to create a class in given below. Class name. This is a doc string. I have created a new class, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3, etc. Class name, it is the name of the class. Doc string, it is the first string inside the class and it has a brief description of the class. Although not mandatory, this is highly recommended. Statements, attributes, and methods. Syntax, class name, document string, class suite. Document string represents the description of the class. It is optional. Class suite contains a class attributes and methods. We can create any number of objects of your class. Use the following syntax to create a object of your class. Reference variable is equal to class name. Pass statement in class. In Python, the pass is a null statement. Therefore, nothing happens when the pass statement is executed. The pass statement is used to have an empty block in a code because the empty code is not allowed in loops. Function, definition, class definitions. Thus, the pass statement will result is no operation, NOP. Generally, we use it placeholder when we do not know what code to create or add code in the future release. For example, suppose we have a class that is not implemented yet, but we want to implement in future. Then and they cannot have an empty body because the interpreter gives an error. So use the pass statement to construct a body that does nothing. Simple example, class demo. Copy this program and go there, paste it, execute, no results. No error, no results. That's the pass statements. Okay. Next. In the above example, we define a class without a body. To avoid errors while executing, we added a pass statement in the class body. Example, creating a class number, pass. Creating instance of a class, x assigned to number. This is the way of creating the object. Print x. Execute this program. So it is giving the object ID. Okay, next. Multiple object creation. Same class number pass. I created x and x1. Okay, and y. I created a 3 instance. Created a 3 instance x, x1, y, and printing the value. So it is giving a different object IDs. Okay, next. A class as well as instance or namespace. Class simplest pass. Do nothing. Statement in Python. X simplest. Print yes. Print type of yes. So here one thing added, type of. What is the type? First is giving the object's ID and it is giving main dot simplest. Class main dot simplest. Okay. Next, class as a namespace. This is as a namespace. So that's the pass is a namespace. Simplest s dot rate and print the s dot rate value. So this is the way creating a namespace. Run this program. 10. Class as a namespace demo. P dot x dot 10, P dot y. I have put it two variables. 10, 20. That's it. Okay, next. Class adding a variable values. So just we created a value, we created assigned the values and printed. Now I'm adding the values and printing the values. I have created a class called point. So 30, 10, 20. Now constructors. Okay, or init double underscore init method, a special function that is called at the time of instantiations. Usually used to set up the attributes of the object. This is the method called automatically once the object has been created without invoking any object. It will call only one time entire lifetime of the program. Mostly this method is used to initialize data members with some default values. If requires to do some functionality is needed, need to after object creation immediately. Constructors have the special members function. It will get invoked automatically at the time of creation of the object. It will initialize the data members of that object. Okay, in Python, we can create the constructor with the help of a double underscore new, double underscore new method and double underscore init and init method. Here, new will create object and init will initialize the object. In Python, constructors is a special type of method used to initialize the object of your cluster. The constructor will be executed automatically when the object created. If the object, we create three objects, the constructor called three times and initialize each object. The main purpose of the constructor is to declare and initialize the instance variable. It can take at least one argument self. The init method is called constructor in Python. Okay, in other words, the name of the constructor should be init self. Okay, the constructor is optional, and if you do not provide any constructor, Python provides a default constructor. Every class in Python has a constructor, but it's not required to define it. Self. The class method must have a first parameter in method definition. We do not give a value to these parameters when we call this method. If you have method which takes two arguments, then we still have to have one argument the self. The self is not defined predefined keywords in Python programming language. Whenever we are going to implement the class in Python, especially in methods, we are using self keyword as an argument. When called a class method by using object of that class, then interpreter internally pass the object as an argument to the method. So most people in a class method, they can consider first argument as an object argument. We can give any type of name, not only self. Class, this is init, self. Print, I am a constructor. Print, my class name is point. P is the point. P is the object. Okay. Now just execute this program. So it is automatically calling the constructor. Okay. Now next constructor self dot x comma y parameter constructor. Okay. 10 comma 20 I passed. P dot x and P dot y I am connecting. So this constructor is printing 10 comma 20. Construct with the default values a comma a equal to 0 and b equal to. Okay. So method, we'll see next is the method. Okay, we'll see what is the method. Method are the function defined in the still we have defined the data members. Now methods. Methods are function defined in the class. The reference to the namespace is passed as a first parameter. The method acts as the attributes through this namespace. Adding a method to the class. See this init a0 display self self.x self.y. Instead of printing outside, I am calling the method. To method, I am printing the values. Yes. Next, our class usage. Init self. Two constructor. One is the pass, another is the just assigning the values and the printing. So P point and P point 10,000. You see what is the error comes or so P. It's 10, 100, and I again assign to the P 1000. Passing this one 100 and the 100 will be default value and 1000 will be the passing and overriding the values. Passing the value via constructors 10 comma 20 and then plus. Constructor via calling passing the values. Now I execute. Yeah, that's it. Now constructor with the default values 10 comma 30 is the a comma b just I am printing the values. on the model. Now, pause point constructor under members. Self.x, self.y, printing the values. So, this video is helped in creating a class, methods, constructor, and a self keyword. Thank you very much.